This video series, we are going to see about 100 question and answers for contracts managers. So I have tried to compile 100 frequently asked questions in every interviews and how to answer them in a brief way, but still in a very precise way how an experienced contract manager would answer. The first question is, what is your overall approach to managing a contract from the award to closeout? This is an overview question to understand your overall knowledge of the contracts manager. So you can answer like, I first review the full contract to identify the obligations, risks, and timelines. See, these words are very chosen and keywords a project manager who has a vast experience would use. I set up a compliance matrix and communication protocol for all stakeholders. Contract is not just for the contract managers. The contract is for the entire EPC team, and each stakeholder has a responsibility, and that will be assigned. I track deliverables, approvals, change events, and payment milestones. See, these all four are very, very important in every project. So I monitor risks through regular reviews and issue logs. At closeout, I ensure all obligations, warranties, and final payments. That means retentions. See, you see, it maybe look small, but it has capsulized in the entire contractual manager's obligations. For example, the project manager focuses on the quality and timely delivery, but contract managers usually focus on the obligations, risks. They also focus on the timeline because timelines comes up with penalties. That is why. Question number 2. How do you ensure contractual compliance across multiple departments? So there is going to be a lot of departments, and not all are going to directly come under contracts. In EPC contractor side, you will have engineering, procurement, construction, quality, safety, project control. So each of them have a different kind of contractual obligation. So how you are going to ensure the compliance? So I translate the key classes into simple obligation trackers because they don't understand the complex language of the contract. So this will be transferred into simple obligation trackers and assign responsibilities to each department. Okay. Once assigned, regular coordination meetings has to happen frequently to align the technical, commercial, and the planning teams. So you should have I use dashboards for visibility on pending actions, for tracking easily any deviations or escalated early, either to the management level or to the higher management level, and the corrective actions are documented in order to maintain the audit-ready compliance. For example, NCRs, there might be non-compliance reports on the constructed buildings from the quality. So as a contract manager, it lies in the overall obligation of the contract manager. So you have to at least know what is the total number of NCRs and how many has been closed and how many is open, how many will be closed. If you come to project control, whether we have get the baseline approved, you know that baseline is the major document that is going to be used because every project is going to be end up in a delay, and the baseline plays a very important role. Even the project control knows the importance of it. They knows the importance only in terms of monitoring and completing a project, not in terms of a risk, not in terms of a claim. So that knowledge has to be shared from the contract manager to the project control department. You are going to get support from every department. And you are going to coordinate with them and keep the contractual obligation of the entire project tight. Next question, third question, how do you manage variations or change orders? So I start by validating entitlements under the contract classes. So first of all, as a contracts manager, you should know what are all the contract clauses that gives directly entitlement for variations for claims. So I collect contemporary records with like drawings, RFIs, site instructions, and delay notifications. So you get support from all the departments because each of the contemporary record is from different department. For example, drawings is from engineering, RFI is from also from, sometimes it will be from engineering, sometimes it will be from quality, site inspection is completely from construction, delay notifications will usually be from project control. So now you have to quantify in terms of time, cost, and resources. Again, you get the support of which department knows the work done and the time required and the cost required. So then I negotiate based on facts and contract provisions, ensuring transparency. Sometimes if it is a direct bought out item, you have to show the invoice. Say, this is what I'm going to buy this item, which we declare as a variation, and that is the invoice, and this is the markup for us. Be transparent on it, because if you're not being transparent now, we have to be transparent at the stage of arbitration. We don't have any other option. So final changes are documented through proper change order procedures. So a change order is closed when a change order is being released and it's reflected in the contract. Fourth question is, how do you handle disputes before they escalate? So handling disputes after escalate is a normal contracts management. So how do you avoid disputes? There is a saying that how to win a claim. The best way to win a claim or a dispute is to avoid it. So I focus on early identification of disagreements through contract reviews and progress meeting. It's an issue when coming to the contracts manager, it should not come like after months. So it should come early. In most cases, it will not come to your table. And you have to keep your eyes, ears open in the meetings to understand these are the disagreements that's going to become disputes. Because from your experience, you know that. So I encourage documentation-based dialogues instead of emotional arguments. So you know that. Both the project managers from PMC and contract used to fight in meetings on petty issues, but they don't never record that. Even minutes of meetings will not have that. So you as a contract manager, stay away emotionally, record them, be transparent, and call them for a prejudice meeting. Okay, so you both call them, you understand both sides, and my aim is always settlement before arbitration or litigation. So as a contracts manager, you should be the one who should try a lot to avoid going to arbitrations or litigations. Of course, if the other party is not supporting, that's not your problem. But from your end, you should have a firm commitment to not to move towards the arbitration or litigation procedures. Next question. What delay analysis methods do you use for EOT claims? See, delay analysis is a very vast area, and not every contracts manager is going to have vast experience in detailed analysis. But however, you should have experience on the common methodologies which are being used, and you should have an understanding what are the inputs being required to complete those analysis, either based on ACL protocols or AAC protocols. You should have a minimum understanding of that. So I choose the methods based on contemporary record availability and stage of the project, because the project stage decides whether it's a prospective delay analysis or retrospective delay analysis. So common approaches I use are as planned versus as built, time impact analysis, time slice window analysis, collapsed as built only in the case where the baseline is not being approved. You are being appointed as a contracts manager at the end of the project. There is no contemporary record, there is no baseline. Okay, but you have the authority to build a as-built record or as-built schedule. At that time, you can go for collapse as-built kind of delay analysis methodologies. So I evaluate critical path shifts and demonstrate causation. The project control itself gives you the critical path shifting in each window because they are software generated. But still, being a contracts manager, you have to ensure that whether that critical path is logically right or not. See, we might have prepared a claim where we say that at a particular point of time in the window, the particular work is being highly critical and we have been damaged. But if you see the software or the schedule for the particular window, the said activity may not be critical. So if it is not critical, you will not be eligible for a claim. So you have to think that in mind and answer. So you always align the methodology with the contract's requirement. And if contract has a particular requirement, you have to follow that. That is the first thing. The output is defensible and evidence-based. So you should always be the devil's advocate and check what all the questions will be there or determinations will be there from the other side, other party. If you are a PMC, if you are giving a determination, the other side, the contractor will come up with so many defense. And if you are in the contractor side, you have to think like an PMC while preparing it. How do you manage claims from subcontractors? So this is going to be a bit difficult task because you are going to have so many subcontractors in a project and all are going to come up with a claim when you have difficult times on how you are going to handle. So I first check back-to-back entitlements in the main contract. So what is the back-to-back entitlement in the main contract and how it is reflecting that in the subcontracts. Then I verify notice requirements, whether the subcontractor has followed the proper notice requirements, whether there is delay from their side, and what are the supporting records they are given. I negotiate based on facts. Avoid inflated costs or unsupported delays. I document all decisions formally to avoid disputes. Final settlements should follow proper approval workflow. So you have to manage, you have to have a procedure to handle them. Only then you can handle all the subcontractors in a fair, same way. Usually what it happens is the contractor who cries the more gets the money, claims. But the other who have worked a lot but don't know to cry will not get the claim, which is very unfair. And you will not have him alive for the next project. So have a procedure and be transparent and follow it so that it will help for the company to grow as partners. Subcontractors are always our partners. So try to be as much as fair with them so they will help you win in the next project. What is your strategy for contract risk manager? So contract always comes with the risk management. You have to be a good risk manager when you have to be a contracts manager, especially under the contractual obligation. So the first part is I begin by identifying the commercial, technical, schedule, and legal risks from the contract. So it's very clear. Time, cost, scope. Scope is a technical issue, and then the legal issue. Each risk is categorized by impact and likelihood. So whether it is low risk, medium, high, or very high. So mitigation actions are assigned to responsible teams with time. So if it is high and its frequency of occurrence is very high, then the timeline will be very short to be addressed. I continuously monitor and update the risk register. This risk register has to be linked with the project risk register because they will have the entire risks, even including contracts. And again, it has to be linked with the lessons learned register of the previous project. So if this life cycle loop is not being closed, and the risk register acts as a standalone register, it's good for now. So escalation mechanism, keeping management informed on critical risks. So high risks have to be being informed to the management on a very regular basis. How do you ensure timely payments from the client? This is the next question. Cash flow is heart of a construction project. A contracts manager who doesn't know this, who thinks cash flow is a finance problem, is not fit for contracts management. So I prepare accurate and well-supported payment applications. I ensure all the measurements, approvals, and invoices match contractual requirements. I maintain regular communication with clients, commercial team. That should be a good relationship, not just a technical protocol for communication. Any rejection or deduction is challenged with evidence. I keep management updated to avoid cash flow issues. That's very important. Next question is question number 9. How do you handle poor performance by the subcontractor? So how do you measure their KPI? It's your obligation to measure their KPI. I check performance clauses and issue early warning signs as per the contract. If there's a delay, you can issue a notice. If there is a quality issue, you can still issue a notice. If there is a design issue, you have to issue a notice. I conduct performance meetings and allow reasonable time for correction. See, the most important thing is you have to keep communicating with them. You have to keep seeing them in meetings. You have to understand their problems. See, most of the important problems come out of their mouth, not in the meeting rooms. Get them in the pantry. You get them in the balcony. You get them in the lift or the stairs. You know that, right? So, be the good communicator. See, most contract managers have a career path of they become a contracts manager and then they become a commercial director or head of the company. And then one time they want to either become an independent consultant or most go with a mediator or arbitrators. So in that case, you should always maintain neutrality. So develop the neutrality maintenance and mediating skill right from the beginning. So that will you have an entire career to build that skill. I document all non-compliances for record. That's good. That will be good for you while negotiating. If issues persist, I escalate notices, liquidated damages triggers, or the extreme thing is replacement option is to, if a contract is not at all performing, then you have to replace them and then you have to back charge. What are the additional charges happen to us to them? That's going to be a tough decision, but still it has to be taken to save the project. The aim is always performance recovery before termination. So you have the securities, performance securities, which has to be kept alive. So 10th question is, what is your experience in FIDIC, NEC or EPC contract? So be fair while answering this question. If you have experience, tell them yes or no. No. For example, if you have experience in FIDIC, so I interpret key clauses related to obligations, claims, notices, variations, and risk allocations. In EPC and FIDIC contracts, I am comfortable with class 20, class 8, class 13. These all deals with EOT claims, variation claims, and dispute resolution mechanisms. I apply these classes during negotiations and claim submissions. My experience includes drafting, reviewing, and administering these contracts. So which contract you are specifically into and which contract you have a good experience, you can be open on that. I ensure all actions align with the governing conditions. The next video, we will start with the next 10 set of questions. Thank you.